hello, and welcome to episode 144 of the So Video Games podcast, where we talk about any game at all, including new stuff, old stuff, and anything in between. If we are playing it, we will be talking about it. Today we are recording on August 14th, 2019. My name is Corey Motley. I am a podcast producer and co-host of the So Video Games podcast, and an occasional writer at GameCritics.com. I'm also 50% of this show. Joining me, as always, is Brad Galloway. He is my partner in crime and co-host of this podcast, and he is also the editor of Game Critics. How are you, Brad?
I am very well, sir. Thank you for asking.
Good. I realized that I just told you right before we started recording that this was episode 143, but it was actually 144, so I lied to you, and I'm sorry about that.
Oh, man.
I'll never be forgiven for this injustice.
Never. That one is carved in stone. Ugh. Okay. All right. That's fine. We'll move past it for now.
All right.
We will circle back later, though.
Or let's table it for now. We'll come back later. Speaking of tabling things, hello, everybody. We do have banter after the show. Last week we did not. It was all... all games, in and out, although it was still like an hour and 45-minute show, so it was a lot of all games show. But we do have banter again this week, so we'll talk about it again later, but stay tuned after the show if you want to hear the banter. But I'm assuming, if you've tuned in right now, the reason why you're here is to listen to us talk about some motherfucking video games. So that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Brad, because I'm hosting, I will lovingly give you the floor first. What would you like to talk about today?
All right, let's get into it. Looking forward to talking about games this week. I'm going to start off with you're going to hate me, I'm sure. Hashtag Brad.
Hold on. Can I guess what this is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it going to be a goddamn pixel-based roguelike on the Switch? Is that what this is?
Oh, you know me so well.
You know me so well. Okay, yes, all right, indeed. Let's hear it.
I am like a pig in shit. You just cannot get me away from the 2D roguelikes. I am bringing to the show this week Black Paradox, playing it on the Switch. I didn't do any notes this week, so I'm sure it's on PC. I don't know if it's anywhere. It's probably on Xbox. It's probably on everything. I don't know. This is, as we've just clearly established, a 2D side-scrolling, pixel-based roguelike, but it's also a shoot-'em-up. I feel like I just talked about shoot-'em up, but in fact I did. I talked about Fish and Superstar X last week, and it's ironic that I played these two back-to-back because each one is essentially the same thing as the other, but they kind of do things a little bit differently from each other. So even though on paper they could be twinsies, they actually do feel pretty different when you play them. So Black Paradox, you are a ship which looks more like a DeLorean with the doors open. I don't know why, but it just is. And you play a bounty hunter who's in space, and you need to bust, I think, 7 intergalactic bad guys. And there's 7 levels, and they play like side-scrolling shoot-'em-up levels, like an R-Type or a Gradius or Darius or something like that, like a 2D shooter. You just jump in. There's like loads of enemies. They shoot at you. You shoot at them. Very traditional kind of 16-bit shoot-'em-up action. But the roguelike stuff comes into play because in the middle of every stage, there'll be one specific ship that pops up. And if you shoot that ship, it'll drop a power-up. And that power-up is always random. So like it'll be a gun of some sort always. But it's always like one will be like a boomerang blade. Sometimes it's a laser. Sometimes it's a shotgun. Sometimes a flamethrower. Like you never know what you're going to get. So you get that. And if you don't like it, you can switch back to like your regular pea shooter, and you can kind of go back and forth between 2 weapons all the time. You push on, and then if you get to the end of the stage, beat a boss, you will get one more power up. It's not a gun, but it's usually like a buff. It'll be like you get like a little drone to come with you. There's several varieties of drones, or it'll be like plus 20% damage, or like get a shield or something like that. So that's basically the format of the game. You go through a level, you get a random weapon in the middle of the level. Keep it or don't, it's up to you, and you can hold up to 2 weapons at a time. Keep on shooting, and when you get to the boss, if you beat him, then you get one more like power up, and those stack as long as you don't die. So straightforward. The action is pretty satisfying. I will say it's difficult. I think the shooting is pretty difficult. a lot of bullets on the screen, a lot of different kinds of bullets on the screen. So right when you start to get comfortable with something, a wrench will be thrown into the works. And the levels are, I don't know if they're procedurally generated, but there's a lot of different levels. So like if you start the game, start level 1, and it'll be like a series of like blue boxy ships that shoot straight ahead. If you die and come back to level 1, it might be green triangle ships that shoot at like an angle, or like they might be like, you know, like orange, some other kind of shape of ship, and they shoot like in a circle. So like even though you're playing the same level, like the bosses are always in the same order, the levels may be different, and the enemies that you come across in the levels are different. So you can never really practice and just like be super familiar with like a level, you know, like in old shooters, if you played them enough times, you would know exactly which enemies were coming when. You could position yourself to kill them before they have a chance to kill you, and just by sheer repetition you could really master those. But that's not really possible here because the levels change up enough that you just have to just really get into it and just be good at shooting. You just cannot really memorize anything because there's nothing to memorize. I think the graphics are pretty good. I really like them. I think it's got a good look. They're colorful. I think the character designs are pretty amusing. And after you finish a run, you collect a certain amount of money, and then you can go to a shop, and the shop will unlock some permanent power-ups. So you can get, you know, like, oh, you'll have a 5% chance of shooting like an extra bullet, or like you'll get like a, I don't know, whatever, like 10% more life or something. So like you have to earn money over the course of doing runs, and then if you save up enough money, you can unlock some of these power-ups, and the power-ups are the persistent thing, which will kind of help you eventually beat the game, because the difficulty is pretty fucking steep. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at shooters. Not the best, but pretty good, and I've had difficulty getting past the 3rd stage out of 7, so I've got quite a ways to go. The only things that I would say that are bad about it is that I think the grind is maybe a little bit too much. I know that when we talked about Fission Superstar X, one of my big knocks against that game was that there wasn't anything persistent, and you just had to just like get good. And because of that, I didn't really feel like I had a legitimate hope of winning that game, because there was nothing really to practice. You just kind of either do it or don't. And I like a little bit more of an in for players when they do roguelikes. So this one does have the persistence, which I like. I think it's a good system, and I don't mind playing levels and saving money and buying power-ups, but I feel like the power-ups are all really expensive, and you don't get very much money, so it feels like a really long time between power-ups, and the power-ups so far are not great. Like getting a 2% chance to do something, or like a 1% chance to do something, in my mind is basically a 0% chance. Like it's not really worth buying, and it doesn't really affect your game that much. So I wish the persistent stuff got better faster. People tell me that if you keep going, that the power-ups get stronger and stronger as you go, but I feel like it should be going a little faster. So I feel like progression is a little bit too slow for my taste. But I like the graphics. I like that the runs are so quick. I like just the general concept of it. So overall, I do like it. It succeeds in a few places where Fission Superstar X didn't, namely the persistence. But I think it's generally a harder game. You have to be better at shooters to hang with this one. So overall, I dig it. I've been playing maybe 1 or 2 runs a night. I don't know that I'm going to go the distance. I'm going to try, but I can already tell like I'm kind of like burning out on it a little bit because I'm just not really getting further. But overall, still dig it. Still dig it. I would recommend it if you are a fan of shooters, or if you are a fan like me, junkie of roguelikes, especially on the Switch. I think it's a really good fit for the Switch. So I like it. I'm glad I bought it. I'm still playing it. I wish it was tweaked a little bit, but I'm still in there.
I have one question about this game. Do you think, because when you're talking about even if you die and restart the levels, that it's kind of like randomizes the enemy ships or the attack patterns that they have, do you like that, or would you rather have the levels be the same every time you die and go back?
I mean, honestly, I think it's good. I think it is good that it's randomized, because I noticed that I don't get bored. Like I would get bored if I was doing the exact same level 1 over and over and over and not getting further. So the fact that I'm not really getting further, but the level feels different every time I play it, is kind of like giving it more life. So I think that's a good move. I think that's definitely a good move. I mean, honestly, I feel like if they would just tweak the persistence a little bit to let you power up a little bit faster, like I would be way more positive on this, because I really like a lot of what it's doing. And I think that they use the randomness appropriately, and it's good that the bosses are always in the same order, because then you know what you're up against, and you can kind of, I mean, within reason, kind of kit yourself out the right way. But No, I like it. I mean, I think in general I like it, but it's just one of those games where I just feel like it's just like a little bit too hard. Where I like it, but I don't want to like devote the next 6 months of my life to getting good at it. Which is like, I mean, that's like a lot of the games that I play these days, where it's like I like it, but I don't want to. I don't want to be married to this game. Like I want to just have a week of a really good time and then move on. So I don't know. I wish I could finish it in a week. I'm not going to finish it in a week. I definitely won't, and I probably will not go the distance on it. Probably not, but I still think it's a really good game, though.
Okay, cool. Well, speaking of hard games, we can do a little segue into the first game I want to talk about, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, and in fact, looking at the script, I am very eager to hear you talk about this, because we talked about this on the show, didn't we? I feel like we did.
Yeah, because you played it, and I have just now got my hands on the demo, and that's it. So
I have thoughts on this for sure, but please take the floor, sir, and let us know what you think about Ape Out.
Yeah, so you had talked about this game a while back, probably about a month ago on the show, and I think it was actually Devolver Digital who tweeted that they had put a demo out for Ape Out, and it was a game that I was interested in playing at the time, but I remember you saying that it was really hard and that you kind of it wasn't really worth the frustration that it was putting you through, but that it was a generally like entertaining game. And I thought that I might buy it on a really hard sale or something like that, because I'm not really into the whole like hard game situation. But they put out a demo for it, so I was like, okay, perfect. Like, this is exactly what I need. Like, we need more demos in the world, because I'm not going to spend like $20 or however much this game is. So I downloaded it and I played it a little bit last night right before I went to bed. And I don't know how long the demo is, but I can successfully say that I could not even make it through the demo. It was so hard. So, like, there's no way I would ever buy this game. And the thing that pisses me off a lot is that this game seems so cool. Like, the whole presentation of it, like, it starts out and it has this cool, like, jazz drum beat going on, and like, Devolver Digital font comes up on the screen, and then like the developer comes up on the screen, and then like, the name of the game comes up, and it's this cool like cartoony jazz thing, very like silhouetted, and it's like green and yellow and just like cool colors. And then as you are playing the game, and just to remind people who don't know what this game is, it's like a top-down, you play as an ape who escapes some kind of like, I don't even know, like a facility. I don't even know what it is. And basically you just like run around the screen, and it's this cool, like kind of like paper cutout looking silhouette-y, like colorful game where you're just like killing dudes with tranquilizer guns. Like essentially it's kind of like the situation. It's like fast and brutal, similar to like Hotline Miami or something like that. And like, so you like start the game and you like break out of the cell. And like the thing that I think is super cool is that the game is very into like the jazz like drum beat that's playing. And so it's got this cool like percussion beat going on, and every time you either attack an enemy or like kill an enemy, there'll be like a cymbal hit from the drum set, and like so that's kind of stuff like syncs up with the music in a really cool way. And just like the graphical design of it is really incredible. Like I just love the way the game looks. It looks super cool. It sounds super cool. It plays on the Switch. I've been playing on Switch. It plays super well on the Switch. Like it just controls really well. It just has this like dynamite, like polished presentation, but also polished in a way that doesn't look like it was made in a boardroom of like people that work at EA that just like dumb everything down for an audience. Like it looks like it's like definitely has a cool artistic vision, but it's just been polished to perfection. And so like I want nothing more than to be able to play this game because it like looks cool, it sounds cool, it has like just like it has like attitude, like it's just a cool game. But it's fucking hard. And like I'm not gonna play a game that's really, really hard. Just like to get that like flavor, like the cool flavor that it's serving up with like the music and the visuals and everything, it's just not worth it to me. Like I'm not gonna put myself through that. And something that bothers me about this game is like basically from as much as I've played it, I probably played it for about 20 minutes last night. You're an ape, you're going around the screen, top down, Hotline Miami style, and there's like dudes with tranquilizer guns. And one of the things that the game does is that you can't really see around corners until you're around the corner, and then you can see the enemies. So if you like turn a corner or come around a pillar or something and there's an enemy there, they have kind of like a slow draw of their weapon, and then they shoot you, and you can withstand about like 3 or 4 shots before you die. But like once they kind of like train their vision on you and start raising their gun, you can't really like do anything. There's no like, at least not that I have discovered in the demo that I played, there's no like dodge button or like jump button. There's no really way to like get out of the way of the enemy unless you like go back behind a corner. So like you kind of get into this scenario where like if you turn a corner and an enemy is like kind of far away and they see you, you just like you either run up to them and get shot like trying to kill them, or you have to like go back behind the corner. And like this is not like fucking Rainbow Six Vegas. Like this is not a cat and mouse cover shooter. Like this is a fast action game about like, you know, killing these like tranquilizer scientist dudes or whatever. So I don't like the fact that it's like kind of trying to do that thing where it like it's like you can't like run headfirst into the action, even though the game is kind of an action game, and it's just really bothering me. And I didn't like how hard it was, and I don't like how far back you checkpoint every time you die, and I just like really want to love this game, but I can't do that in its current state unless they patch it or they do something, you know, patch it in easy mode or something. I can't get on board with it. I wish I could because it's super cool, super slick, super stylish, just really has a cool artistic vision, but it's just too hard and I can't deal with it.
So, okay, so I've got many thoughts right now. I mean, yes, everything you said, yes. I got this. I don't know if I reviewed it, or I think maybe Mike Susky reviewed it or something like that. But I remember I got it because everybody in my timeline was like, Ape Out, Ape Out, Ape Out, so good, so good. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'll give it a shot. And so ironically, this was the game. No, okay, so I played on Switch, and I play all my games on the Switch without any sound because I'm usually in bed. I don't want to wake up my wife. And I played like the entire first world before I even realized there was a sound component to it. So, I mean, I was like, okay, this looks cool and everything, and I didn't really get like what the big deal was. But I think that if you don't hear it, you're probably missing out on half of the fun, because I never had the sound on. But yeah, it is way too hard. I think it's really too hard, and it kind of makes me think, like I was just saying about Black Paradox. I mean, I don't know if it's just like us, are we getting old, is it just our taste changing or whatever, but I find myself more and more wanting to engage with the game because of its aesthetics or because of its concepts or because of the unique mechanics that it has. But I find myself like really losing interest when it wants me to like work hard for it. And I know that some people are probably thinking I'm like soft and I've lost my edge and coming up with all sorts of slurs for me and all this stuff, but it's like, I mean, honestly, like I've played the hardest games out there, I've finished the hardest games out there, I have cut my teeth on hard stuff. So it's not like I'm just opposed to difficulty in general, but I just feel like a lot of times, like, the value of a game is in what it looks like and how it makes you feel, and not necessarily in like really working hard to enjoy it. I guess I just find that very few games these days are really worth the effort of like overcoming these really arbitrary obstacles that the developers put in your way. I would much rather play something like Ape Out on like an easy mode where I'm just kind of enjoying the audio and the visuals, appreciating the work that went into it, you know, the different level designs, and just kind of engaging on that level and just having a good time with it rather than like busting my ass trying to like, you know, tooth and claw for every inch of progress. You know what I mean? Like I find myself fewer and fewer times these days where I really will be like, yes, I am going to put on my big boy gamer pants and I'm going to power through this thing and I'm going to work real hard and I'm going to die 1,000 times and I'm going to like it. Like I'm not in that zone anymore. And this is exactly in that zone of where I wish it was easier. I would have loved it. I would have been happy to recommend it to everyone if I could just engage with it for what it was rather than to have it be so difficult. And there's no reason. I mean, they could very easily give you 10 hit points instead of 3 hit points, or give you a mode where, I don't know, just whatever. Like there's all sorts of different, the AI could be slower on the draw or whatever. There's all sorts of different things that you could do that wouldn't necessarily break the game because, I mean, I don't know about you, Corey, but in this particular case, I don't feel like the difficulty is really a selling point of this game. I think it's about the jazz soundtrack, and I think it's about the visuals and the abstract and you're a gorilla. I mean, that to me is really the selling point, not that it's so fucking balls hard. I mean, do you think this game would be damaged if it was easier?
Not at all. And I don't think it's just like the classic argument we have with like when it comes to like Dark Souls or something where, you know, if they wanted to add an easy mode, you have all these like assholes on the internet that are like, oh my God, it'll ruin the experience if there's an easy mode. And it's like, or it won't, because you don't have to play on easy mode. Like just give people who don't want to like kill themselves to enjoy your game an easier mode, and then you'll have more people buying your goddamn games. So that way you can make more games. Like, why is this such a hard concept to get behind? I don't get it.
I mean, exactly, dude, exactly. Let people have the option. People who want to play it really hard can play it hard. People who don't want to play it so hard can have an out. And then more people will enjoy the game. I mean, isn't that really what games are all about? Like, don't you want to make a product that someone enjoys. And like you are telling me how I should enjoy this game, which I guarantee you is not going to be always true. So, I mean, I would have been really a champion for this game if I had been able to get through it. I got through the first world, and I got to be honest with you, dude. I got through the first world, and I thought that was the game. I thought the game was over. And I'm like, oh, man, that got hard. Okay, whew, did it. Okay, that was good. And then it's like, yeah, world 2. And I'm like, oh, no. There's like 3 more worlds. Oh, I'm out. And I bailed, like, because it got, like, ridic hard. It was way too hard. For me to enjoy it. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who are like, oh, so easy. Oh, you guys are so soft. But whatever. I mean, who cares? But yeah, it kind of just loops us back to that discussion of like, I let people enjoy your work. And if you don't think that people can enjoy your work if it's easier, I don't know, maybe think about that, bro. Like maybe just look at that and wonder why you're making it so difficult. So I don't know. But I feel you, man. I liked what it was doing, but I 1000% am on board with the whole, it is just too hard to be enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm not into it, and I mean, joke's on them, because now they lost. I mean, I wasn't going to, like, buy it anyway, but now they lost another potential sale, because I don't want to deal with how difficult it is. So, sorry, Ape Out, sorry, Devolver Digital, if you guys weren't all about, like, making hard games for, you know, the get-good crowd, then you would have had a sale on me, but not anymore. Bye.
Yeah. So, anyway, all right, can I take over here? You want me to talk about my next game?
You may.
All right. So interestingly that we were just talking about difficulty, because I think that is kind of a factor in what I'm about to talk about. Open world RPG, third person Eurojank coming from developer Piranha Bytes. This game is called Elex.
Hold on. Piranha Bytes, like the fish with teeth?
Yeah, that is the name of their studio, Piranha Bytes, except for it's BYTES.
Oh,
so
like gigabytes, but okay,
yeah.
I see what's going on here. I like this.
It's like a little play on words. See what they're doing there. They kind of, yeah.
Okay.
There they go.
I'm into this. All right, carry on.
So, the game I'm talking about today is called Elex, ELEX, and it's the funniest thing. I would have sworn to you that this game came out 6 months ago, and I just didn't get to it. I think it came out in like 2017 or something like that. And I'm like, holy shit, has it gone? Has that much time passed by this quickly? I think it has. Feels like just yesterday this game came out, which is really fucking weird. I kind of went through the time warp there. But like I said, this is Eurojank. These guys are from Poland, I believe. Playing a lot of Polish games lately. I kind of dig what they're doing over there in Poland. Open world, third person. Just as a little bit of backstory, I guess first, have you heard of Elex, or have you heard of also Risen? And there's also one other series that these guys do, and they all kind of follow the same template. Have you ever interacted with Piranha Bytes before, knowingly or unknowingly?
I have not interacted with them, but I feel like Elex I've seen on the PSN like a million times, but I don't think I've ever like really looked into it. I think it's because I knew... I had to have known what kind of game it was and knew probably that it wasn't for me, so I just never bothered trying to check it out or anything.
I mean, probably a wise choice. So I'm actually a fan of Piranha Bytes, going back a ways. I did not interact with their first series. I think it's called Gothic, and I believe it was primarily a PC game, which is probably why I never interacted with it. But they brought Risen, their next series, to console, and these guys kind of do the same thing every time, and they just kind of iterate on it. But I actually really like what they're doing, and it's interesting to see them grow as a studio. Elex is by far the best game they've ever done, and it's really polished and enjoyable in a lot of ways. And you can see how they got there by going back and looking at their older games. So their basic template is you play as a character who basically has nothing. You end up in a new land, which is usually has 3 factions in it, and then you have to survive by either aligning yourself with a faction or just getting strong enough to survive in the world. The combat is usually pretty stiff. There's a lot of RPG elements like leveling up your different skills, like stamina, health, attack strength, like being a slick talker, your charisma, that kind of stuff. And then lots of different weapons. And the other thing is that there's the quest structure is really intricate. So a lot of the people that you talk to will have relationships with other people, and so you have to be very mindful about who you align yourself with and what choices you make. And also their worlds are very detailed, open world, like I said, and you can go almost anywhere from the get-go, and they're gated by creatures that are too hard. You will find out pretty quickly when you're in the wrong spot, because monsters will just like run right up and munch you pretty hard. So you get a pretty good sense of how lethal the game can be. They are not afraid to kill you at the drop of a hat. I've died in Elex probably a million times, but that's their general template. That holds true in Elex as well. This time around, you play as a person who is descended from a highly advanced yet conscience-free kind of group where they're the biggest badasses on the playground, but they're also assholes. You have your stuff stripped away from you, and you get dropped off in the middle of this land, and everybody in the land kind of hates you, so you kind of are kind of hush-hush about who you are, and then you kind of have to make your friends, like, find people that will give you food and shelter, get some weapons, do some jobs to kind of build your way up, and then figure out, which group do you want to align yourself with. In Elex, it's a post-apocalyptic landscape that is being reclaimed by nature. So you get dropped off in the nature zone where the group that you're with there, it's called the Berserkers. They are bringing nature back. Like, they're reclaiming the land, they're planting seeds, they're planting trees, they're funneling water, and they're doing all this stuff. But they're kind of like these real strict rule followers. Later on, you'll find the outlaws, who are guys out in the desert getting high all the time. They just backstab each other, and they just all about, like, no rules, don't fence me in. There's also the clerics, who want to bring the civilization back from before the apocalypse. They worship technology, and they think about, like, the mind and mental kind of stuff, and so that's kind of their thing. They want to go back to the old ways. So it's these three groups that are all fairly balanced, and they're kind of in opposition to each other, but they all kind of also work together. And you just have to figure out what kind of person do you want to be, where do you want to go, what kind of quests do you want to do. And I really like this game a lot. I think Elex has a lot to offer people who like third world, Western style RPGs. It reminds me a lot, honestly, of a cross between Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Not quite as open and not nearly as open and free as those. I mean, you can go anywhere, but the quest structures, I think, are pretty rigid, and they want you to think about your character a lot. Like, who gets hurt if I sell a gun to this person? Who gets hurt if I let this criminal go? Like, and there's not really necessarily a right or wrong. Like, there's no good or bad. There's no paragon or renegade. It's really just about, like, how you navigate your way. Like, I mean, you may piss off a bunch of guys in one town, but that'll make you a lot of friends in another town. But then that might have another impact on the world. Like, maybe you'll have fewer resources because you didn't help this certain person, or, like, it's very intricate. And I really like the way that those quests play out. Also, I really like the world a lot. One really high point for me, and probably not really the reason why I like this game so much, but your main guy has a jetpack, and so already it's on my good side, right? I mean, you have a little jetpack, and so it's kind of that element of going anywhere you want to. So it's an open world, and if there's vertical stuff, there's houses, there's abandoned houses from before the apocalypse, there's big rocks or buildings or something, a cliffside. You can use your jetpack to kind of climb these places, and so it gives you a lot of freedom to cross the landscape. It's not as forgiving as something like Breath of the Wild is, but you can really traverse a lot of the landscape and have a lot of freedom to try things. You can escape from enemies that way, or you can, like, get into places that you might not ordinarily get to because you can drop in from above, or you can, like, fly over a big fence or something. So the jetpack adds a great element to it. But just going out in the world, I think, is pretty cool because there's always something to discover. There's lots of ruins, there's lots of little caves, there's lots of stuff to find, and you never know what's going to be around the next corner. Like, you could come across a little mutant chicken that you can kill in 2 hits and then get some chicken meat off of it, or you might come across this giant, like, cyborg monster that'll kill you in 1 hit. And so you're always like the sense of danger is kind of real in this game, and I feel like in terms of difficulty, it is a very difficult game, but I feel like it earns it because it puts you in this situation where you really do need to think about what you're doing, where you're going, what supplies you have. And I feel like it feels really good. It feels like I'm actually exploring, feels like I'm really trying to learn the world, feels like I'm trying to keep myself alive. It's not so difficult that it's unplayable, but you really can't just go fuck around. Like, you've got to play pretty intentionally. But what it offers, I think, is really great. I think the world is beautiful. I think there's lots to find, lots to explore. A lot of cool concepts going on in this post-apocalyptic world. I think the meshing of the 3 groups is pretty cool. And how you play out the quest is really nice too. Like, you meet certain people and you got to think about, well, who do I like and who do I not like? This guy's a murderer, but he can help me. Should I turn him in? and please the authorities, or should I keep him with me because he'll help me stay alive longer? I mean, you have all sorts of little trade-offs as you go along. I really like it a lot. I mean, it's definitely a European game, along, with all the trappings that come with like a European RPG. I mean, it's not exactly a JRPG, and it's definitely not an American RPG. So there's certain things that you have to expect going into it. But if you're at all familiar with like the Eurojag genre, or the stuff coming out of Poland or anything like that, that's a good mental starting place. And I think that Elex is really good. I mean, it seems like a really huge game. I'm only maybe like 8 hours into it, and I feel like I'm just barely scratching the surface. But I've just really been enjoying my time so far. I'm really glad that I remembered I bought it a million years ago, and it really holds up. I would definitely recommend it to anybody who wants like a Fallout / Elder Scrolls / Witcher-ish sort of a thing. I mean, a little bit janky, a little bit lower rent than some of those, but man, it's got a lot going for it. I really like it a lot.
Right in the middle of whenever you were talking about this game, I came really, really close to just interjecting and cutting you off, because whenever you were talking about the factions and how they have these different, you have like the burnouts that are like doing drugs, and you have the people that worship technology and stuff like that. I came really close to just asking you like, hey, Brad, are you sure you're not talking about Fallout New Vegas? Because it sounds a hell of a lot like Fallout. And then like 5 seconds later, you were like, oh, I compare this most closely to Fallout and Elder Scrolls, so it makes perfect sense. So, like, is it like as story rich as a Fallout, or like how, like, I don't know, just how does like it compare to that exactly?
I mean, it is comparable in some ways. Although, to be honest with you, like as I'm playing it, I don't feel like I'm playing New Vegas again. Although there definitely are some parallels, like you said. I mean, with those guys out in the desert and the techno people and stuff. I mean, but they feel different to me. And I mean, maybe that'll change as I get further in. I'm only about 8 hours in, so I'm staying mostly with the berserker people who are like the nature worshippers and stuff. I'm too weak to really venture that far out. So I will get more story as I go along. But so far, like I think the writing is really good. I think the characters are pretty interesting, and they're really setting up a lot of discussion and thought-provoking things about their own philosophies. Because like I'm in the berserker camp, and these guys are like, yeah, we hate technology fucked over the world, we want to go back to nature, and that's fine. That's like their general rule. But then you'll also find many people who are like, yeah, trees are cool, but like I wish we could play with some guns again, and I wish, like and then some guys will be like, oh well, these guys are too strict to me, like I feel like they're not flexible enough, and yeah, it's kept us alive, but I don't agree with some of these things. And so you meet like lots of people who have different variations, and they show that not everybody is just like a robot, like parroting the same laws and rules when you're in town.
Yeah.
So
okay.
you very often have to think about, oh, well, this guy wants to bend the rules a little bit. I mean, that's going to make the leader upset if he finds out. But if he doesn't find out, is that okay? Like, what does that mean? And there's no morality meter. Like, you're not gaining or losing points, but like it'll say, like when you're talking to a person, like in this particular town, all guns are banned. And so like he's like, yeah, I really want to get a gun because I, whatever reason. So you have like a bunch of options, and if you say, oh, guns are terrible, you're a terrible person for even saying that, then he will like you less. And so like his response to you will change. And so you have to like kind of think about like, what does this guy offer me? Like, what do I need him? Like, is he important? Can I get something from him? Will he help me survive, or does it not matter? And so you're constantly kind of gauging like how you're reacting to people or how people are reacting to you. And I really appreciate that level of it. Like, you're not just like automatically clicking the top response because that's the good response every time you talk to somebody. And sometimes the responses will change. Like, you'll find out a piece of evidence about somebody, and then that'll change the responses that are available to you. And it's not always good. Like, sometimes you find out some dirt on people and they're embarrassed that and so like they'll become colder to you, or like they sometimes don't want to fight you if you find out certain things. And so you really have to be kind of conscientious about who you're talking to, what you say, and what you know. And I really appreciate that lattice work of like all the writing and dialogue. It's not easy to do, because if you do certain things out of order, sometimes the dialogues don't 100% make sense. Like, you'll talk to somebody and like you'll already know something that maybe the writers didn't think you would have known. And it never breaks anything. It's not broken, but like, sometimes you're like, oh, this would have come off a different way if I had talked to this guy first or whatever. But like, it all works. Like, it all makes sense. You can easily figure out what's going on. So I think from that perspective, it's really good. I think there's like a ton of really details in the world. It's hard to really describe how detailed this world is, but I would easily say it's at least as detailed as anything out there. Like, as detailed as Bethesda has done, or as detailed as Ubisoft has done or something. I mean, these guys at Piranha Bytes, I don't hear their name come up very often, but they are doing some phenomenal work with like environmental storytelling and some quest design. I think there's some really interesting shit going on here. I mean, it's not as high budget and it's definitely jankier. And they haven't really had any success, but like even going as far back as Risen, which is where I kind of joined up with them, that game was really fucking janky. But man, some of the stuff you could do in that game, like some of the triggers that like connected characters together and events together, really impressive, like really complicated, really just so smart. Like scripting, some of the stuff you could do was amazing, and they've just gotten better at it. So, I mean, you'll find like a corpse here, you'll find a note there, you'll find a weapon here, and like it all connects to something else. Like there's always somebody who wants to know about that thing, or somebody who lost that thing, or it all just comes together. Like it's not just junk scattered in houses, you know. And another thing that I really appreciate, one of my favorite things, is that these people 100% will fucking stomp on your balls if you do the traditional RPG thing of enter a person's house, steal all their shit, go to the next person's house, steal all their shit. Like if you play this like a Hoover game, people will die, like they will attack you because they are aware that you are stealing their shit, and like you don't go into people's houses and rob every single person, which I think is great because it makes it very realistic. Like if you're in this village, you must respect people's shit. Like you don't walk in their space because they will get mad. You steal anything and they will fucking attack you outright. And it's like, it's cool because it makes it feel a bit more realistic. Just the personalities are different, and how you interact is really important. Like how you behave, what you say really makes a difference. So in that respect, I really like it a lot. And just the world, I think, is just a joy to explore. There's so many cool little things to find, cool little scenarios that you come across. Like sometimes the monsters will be fighting each other, and if there's a big monster that you can't kill, you can like piss him off and then run back to like the village, and then all the villagers will come out and kill him for you. Or like you can trick monsters into fighting each other, or I mean all sorts of little stuff like that. Like a lot of really cool moments, a lot of really cool places to kind of stumble across, and it all feels very organic and natural. I've really been having a great time with it, and I'm glad that I have it because I was really in the mood for one of these things, just this open world kind of third person RPG. And Piranha Bytes does a great job. They really do not get the recognition they deserve. I wish more people were fans of theirs, because I'm so impressed with what they do here.
Okay, so I'm pretty conflicted about this game because from what you're talking about, it sounds like I should like this game, but I also feel like I shouldn't. And I don't know, like, do you think I would like this?
So how did you feel about New Vegas?
I mean, I liked it less than Fallout 3, but I still liked it.
Okay, what did you not like about it? Do you remember?
I did not like the fact that the game kind of ended up devolving into me just fast traveling and looking at loading screens a ton. And plus it got like really buggy toward the end when it was like ramping up to the final segments.
Right. I mean, I would say you probably would not like this game, because I feel like the difficulty is actually pretty high. It takes a really long time before you can survive like anything. You start out really, really weak, and you have to find like the easiest possible quests. And even doing the easy quest, there's a chance you're going to die. When you go out in the wilderness, like a lot of things can kill you like almost immediately. The lethality level of the game is pretty high. When you're in town, it's not too bad, but it just takes a while. And there's just like a lot of like really slow progress. I like it in this particular case because I admire like the details, and I like the way that it's coming together, and I feel like they've created a really cool world, really cool, interesting post-apocalyptic landscape that does not mirror exactly every other post-apocalyptic game out there. And plus, I'm familiar with their games, so I kind of know their bullshit, right? Like I know how they operate, I know what to expect, and I know that this is kind of my style. I don't think you would probably like this. I think you would find it too hard because you'd be dying every 5 seconds, and I feel like progress would be coming way too slow for you. I think that for a normal person, this is probably a kind of a torturous experience in some ways, but if you click with it, it's wonderful. And I do click with it, but I don't think that this is everybody's jam.
Okay, I can respect that. And plus, at the end of the day, it's just another game that I don't have to play, and there's already plenty of games to play out there anyway. So I'm certainly not going to be offended or sad that this is not for me, and I will just pass and move on.
Yeah, I would be really shocked if you liked it. I just can't see you getting into it. And I bet most people will find it to be really hard and a little bit unapproachable at first. I mean, I think it's like like I want to say it's like an oyster, but I think oysters are actually really gross. But like, think of something like, okay, coconut. Like it's a coconut. It's really hard on the outside. It takes a lot to get through it. But once you get to the middle, I really like coconut, so I think it's delicious and it's worth the effort. I don't know that everybody would think that it was worth the effort, but if you like intricate stories, intricate world design, it definitely doesn't feel like everything else out there. Like if you want an RPG that feels like its own thing, despite all the similarities to Elder Scrolls or Fallout, this feels like its own thing. Like it really, really does. If you're up for that, this could be your jam. But like it is kind of a tall order. Not for everybody.
Okay, understandable. Then I'm A-okay just pretending like this game never existed and I will not play it.
Probably for the best.
Okay, excellent. Well, let's move on. Do you have anything else to say about it before we move on?
No, that's it. Just that I'm really enjoying it. I may bring it up again. I would really like to finish this game, but I imagine that it's probably really, really long, so I don't know if I will have the raw time. But if I do keep going, I'll do an update at some point in the future. But as of right now, know that I really like it a lot. I give it a thumbs up.
Excellent. Okay, well, good. If you bring it back with more updates, I look forward to hearing that. But let's move on. We've got one more game slated for the show, and this is actually going to be a tiny bit of a dual discussion. Because last week, if you have listened to that show and remember, Brad bought and brought a lovely little game called Refunct to the show. Just to remind everybody, this was a kind of a first-person, short and sweet, like parkour-type platforming experience that had come out on the PC in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, and then it had recently launched on consoles. And I was really shocked that Brad was playing it because it sounded really up my alley. It was like a first-person platformer. It was parkour. It just seemed like something I would play more than he would play. And so naturally, being the jealous bitch that I am, as soon as we finished recording, I went to my Switch and bought it immediately because I thought it sounded great. And I played the entire thing in one sitting last night.
Which you should.
Yes, you should. I was a little surprised at how short it was. I know you prepped me and said it was short, but I beat this in probably about a half an hour flat. It was very short for me.
Yeah, that's about right. It feels like about a half an hour for the first time through, for sure.
Yeah, so this game, I guess something that maybe I probably just wasn't listening to you hard enough last week, but what I didn't realize is that the entire game is just one level. I kind of thought that it was maybe going to be split up into different areas or different I don't even know, different environments maybe, but you start, the game literally spawns you on a platform, it's first person, and there's all these kind of concrete looking blocks around you, and you jump to them, and every time you make it, there's kind of a beacon that's shining up from a switch on one of the platforms, and whenever you hit it, there's other parts of the level that rise up, and I remember you talking about this, because the level kind of rises as you play through it, more obstacles pop up and stuff. But for some reason, I just thought that there was going to be more than one level, but just the one playing field is all you have, and basically all you do is run and jump, and there's a crouch button, but it also doubles as kind of a slide if you're running. I mean, you can also do cool Super Mario type jumping from wall to wall, and you can just bounce back and forth between the walls until you get high enough if there's a cool area like that. But you basically just platform run from one platform to another to get to these switches. And then once you hit the switches, a different area of the level rises up. You have to make your way over there and then hit that switch. And you basically just do that until all of the switches are done. So it was a little bit more of a compact experience than I was expecting. But I mean, I have to say, I really did like this too. I thought it was...
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was worried. You were kind of bearing the lead there. You're waiting and waiting. And I'm oh, come on, dude.
This game fucking sucks, Brad. No, I actually really thought it was fun. It's pretty much exactly... I mean, it's exactly what you said it was. It's short and sweet. It's kind of... whimsical in a way. It's not too tactical, because I remember asking you last week, I love Mirror's Edge so much, is there a lot of, tactical gameplay? Do you have to, roll out of jumps or, do a lot of climbing or whatever? And really, there's none of that. You just jump. You can hold the jump button while you're close to a ledge to have your character climb up. You can... there's, some platforms that are kind of springboard type platforms where you jump on them and it kind of bounces you higher, and a little bit of stuff like that. So it does vary it a little bit, but it's not super complicated. And I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to get into it because it wasn't super complicated, but it is really fun. And it's one of those rare games, and I feel like you and I don't say this often, that whenever it was over with, I was like, all right, like, where's the next level? Like, I'll take some more of this right now, please, because it's just so, just kind of like fun and whimsical, and it was just like an easy thing to play, and not super challenging. There were only a couple times that I got lost in the game because you can usually see the red beacon where it's coming from on a platform. And there were like 1 or 2 times where I just like could not see it to save my life. And I was basically just like running and jumping around this island like a madman trying to find the stupid beacon that was in the air. And there were like a couple jumps in particular where you had to do like some like triple wall bounce stuff in order to get up to a higher ledge that I had a little bit of trouble with. But those sections aside, I really enjoyed this, and I thought it was a lot of fun, and I would like to see more of it. Like, I kind of wish there was a second game, or that he would have made, I want to say like DLC or something, or just like patched new levels in or something like that. But considering it was only, I think I paid $2.99 for it on Switch, it's super cheap. I mean, it's like the perfect little experience for what you would expect for $2.99. Like, it's short, it's sweet, it's not super complicated. It does what it does well. It gets in, it gets out. It doesn't really waste your time. Although it did leave me wanting more. My only, I guess, big complaint from it being on the Switch is that, like, the Switch has the shoulder buttons and then it has the triggers. And you jump with the shoulder buttons and slide with the shoulder buttons, and I would have much rather have used the triggers. And there's no way to customize the controls. And I feel like it's like a little bit of bullshit that you can't customize the controls because you only have like a few buttons that do things in the game. Like, you run around with the sticks, you jump with one trigger, you jump with one shoulder button, you crouch with the other shoulder button. And that's like basically it. So like, if they would have let me remap the shoulder buttons to the triggers, I would have found this to be a little bit easier, or even like, mapping it to like A and B or X and Y or whatever. Like, I don't quite understand why they wouldn't let you remap the controls, because it's not like it's a big complicated setup, where you're doing a bunch of stuff. It's like 2 input buttons. So that was a little bit disappointing. But other than that, I had a really good time with this, and I thought it was really fun.
Oh, good. I was really wondering whether it was going to be too simple, or if, because I mean, this game really struck me at the right time. I mean, like I said on the show last time, I was really stressed out and frazzled, and this is like totally the most soothing game ever. And just the kinetic act of playing this game was enjoyable, just jumping and running around and moving the controls and just doing the simple motion of the parkour without really anything else tacked onto it, without really even having that much of a goal, to be honest with you, was just really soothing. Like, it just made me feel so much better to do something that was kind of like, I don't know, meditative in a way. And so I love this experience. I'm really glad you like it too. I honestly wasn't sure if you were going to like it or not. I mean, I was ready for you to say, oh, it's so boring, or oh, I've cut my teeth on Mirror's Edge. This is like the kiddie pool for me. Yeah, exactly, or something. So, but I'm glad that you were able to find the good part of it. And I wish that, like, what this game brings, like that sense of like, I am not here to challenge you or to make you work hard. I'm just here to deliver an experience to you. I wish more developers would do that. We've already kind of touched on that several times in this podcast, but like, sometimes I just want to play something and be in it and experience it, and I don't really want to have my balls busted when I'm playing it. And this is the exact thing that I needed that day. I wish there was more stuff like this out there.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I wish I could be saying this about Ape Out like I did it earlier, that it was just kind of fun and really like beautiful to play. But unfortunately, I guess some developers are into, these kind of like easygoing experiences that aren't there to bust your balls and challenge you. And some aren't necessarily into that. And I wish that more would be into that. And like the last thing I want to touch on about this game, and you feel free to say more after I'm done, Brad, but one thing that I also really liked about this game is that like the music is really wonderful in it. And lately I've been getting into a situation where as soon as I play a game, if I like the music, I'll immediately like try to Google like who was the composer, or, who worked on the music for the game. Cause I did that with Far Lone Sales when we talked about that. I played it. I think I saw the name of the composer in the credits, and I like immediately Googled him and searched Apple Music, and I added the album, the Far Lone Sales soundtrack, to my Apple Music on my phone. And I did the same thing with this one. It's one guy who composed music for this, and I might pronounce his name wrong, but I think it's Singto, Singto, last name Conley. And I looked him up, and he had a few albums out, but there wasn't like a Refunct soundtrack. It was just sort of like how Hotline Miami does, where they just kind of take like licensed music from other people. And so I looked him up, and sure enough, he has an album that came out in 2015 and has had a couple albums since. And I was kind of like scrolling through some of the songs on the album and sampling them, the ones from 2015. And a couple of the songs are the ones from Refunct. So they must have, or not from that, but they were
right
used
on.
in it. So today, like even at the office today, I just like looked him up on Apple Music and I was streaming a bunch of his music just randomly playing. And I found him on Twitter last night and I started following him on Twitter. And he only has like, I think like a couple thousand followers. So he's not some like big, famous musician. And then today when I got to work and I was streaming his music, I just sent him a tweet and I was like, oh, hey, I played Refunct for the first time last night. And I loved it, and I just want to let you know I'm streaming your music all day at the office today. It's really great, or something along those lines. And he sent me a tweet back and was just like, oh, thank you so much, and put like a bunch of heart emojis. And so I don't know, it's just like the music's really great, and that's just like another like nice little layer of the experience. And the music is also great to listen to outside of playing the game. It's just got a nice kind of like cool, groovy, mellow tunes that you can like work to or, be in the office to or write to or edit to or whatever. So it's just like a nice little cherry on top of this like delightful little game.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I love like when you reach out to somebody, just let them know that you appreciate what they've done and they hit you back. And it's just like, little bits of like kindness and niceness like that are just really appreciated, especially in these very troubling times. So that's cool. Yeah, I did like the music a lot, and that's cool that you reached out and stuff. So excellent. Yeah, I don't have anything else to offer. Just that I really like this game a lot. As I said last time, I'm really glad that you liked it too. And I think that this just kind of opens the door to like a different kind of game. I mean, I wish more people would do games like this where it's just about the experience, really. I mean, I'm sure that I don't know everything out there. I'm not playing every single indie out there. If anybody listening knows of other games like this that are just kind of this good-natured kind of experience, I would definitely love to hear about it. I mean, definitely drop us a line. Let me know if there's something you recommend, something along the same lines as Refunct. I would be into exploring more of that. I just playing something and just playing it just to play it, just to have fun, not to as we've said, get our balls busted. So, well, I'm glad you liked it.
Good. I'm glad too, and I'm glad you played it because as soon as you started talking about it last week, it sounded super up my alley, and I was surprised that I hadn't heard of it or anything because this seems like the kind of thing that would have been on my radar. But thank goodness you keep either talking about games or recommending games to me, and they've just really been paying off lately. So thank you for that, Brad.
You bet. Speaking of which, I just bought Sagebrush.
Did you?
I did. I haven't played it yet. I'm going to start it pretty soon. I was a little bit too tired last night, but I think maybe tonight I'll crack. You said it's only like, what, a couple hours long, something like
that? Yeah, my first time through, it only took me like an hour and like 20 minutes or so to beat it, and then I went back and spent an extra probably 20 to 30 minutes finding a little bit of the extra stuff that I missed the first time around. So
okay. So this is on the docket for me pretty soon, and I will report back. Hopefully I will like it as much as you liked Refunct. I mean, who knows? We'll see, but we will find out.
I hope so. I hope it's because I feel like the last game that I was in love with that you played obviously was Soma that we talked about, but Soma is much more of a tall order because it's like 8 to 10 hours long or so, but Sagebrush is a little bit shorter, so I feel like even if you're not as enamored with it as I was, you'll probably have no problem at least getting through it and experiencing the whole thing. So I look forward to you playing it so we can talk about it soon.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny you mentioned Soma because I actually I re-downloaded it after I rage deleted it.
Yeah, you felt guilty, didn't you?
I did feel guilty because, man, I mean, we don't have to cover it all again, but I mean, that's kind of something to say about Soma. Like, I didn't finish it, but I was still thinking about it the entire time. So there's definitely something there. I'm not back to it now, but it's on my Xbox again, and I very may well come back to it and maybe chip away at it. I really want to finish it, but God, like, so much of that game is bullshit that I don't like, but I really want to finish it. So anyway, we should probably wrap up the show and get out of here. I got to cook some dinner, and we should just let our listeners go.
Indeed. Well, cool. Let's call it quits for right now. Everybody, this is the end of the show. Remember, you can stick around after the ending music to hear tonight's banter. We're bringing banter back tonight. We've got almost an hour of it, so we got some stuff for you.
Bringing banter back. Yeah. We're bringing banter back. Banter's back.
Like Justin Timberlake brought sexy back, and you and I are bringing banter back, so here we go. Maybe one day you and I will have a Super Bowl halftime show just like he did. Who knows? But you can listen to that after the show. If you want to get in touch with us, if you want to send us any thoughts, any feedback, any comments, any games you want us to play, if you want any free games from Brad, because he is always open for you to email him about some free games, you can get in contact with us at sovideogamespodcast@gmail.com. You can also post comments for the show on Game Critics' website after they go up. There's a comment section on every article there. We are also on Twitter as a collective show. Our Twitter handle, believe it or not, is just at SoVideoGames over there. And last but not least, you can reach us individually on Twitter and on Instagram, as a matter of fact. Brad, would you like to give out your social media handles?
Yep, you can reach me on Twitter and Instagram, BradGallaway, all A's, no O's.
Excellent. And you can also reach me on Twitter and Instagram at Corey Motley. That is CoryMotley. And that, my dear listeners, brings us to the end of the show. Brad, do you have anything to say before we sign off?
No, that's it. But thanks again, folks, for listening. Write in to get those free games, and we will meet you back here next week.
Yes, it sounds like a plan. So that's the end of episode 144. We'll be back with episode 145 next week. But until then, this is bye from Corey.
And bye from Brad. We'll see you next time. Business. We are now podcasting and about to bant. Banter.
Indeed.
Banter imminent. Banter impending.
Mm-hmm. I'm all prepped. I have nail polish ready to go. I'm gonna paint my nails while we record Banter. Actually, I haven't done this in a while. My nails have been I took my polish off like a week ago or something, and I haven't had them painted, and I want to have them painted again. So here we are.
This is interesting. I didn't, this was nowhere on my docket, but since you mentioned it, I've been noticing a lot more guys lately who have toenail polish, but not fingernail polish. So
Brad, we've already talked about this.
We did, but this is even more so. I know that we established this a while ago, but I have just been noticing it more and more and more. And I gotta just say, like, I'm kind of confused. Like, I look at these dudes, like, granted, I don't know any of them. They're not my friends. We don't have a relationship. I just random dudes on the street or like at a park or wherever dudes are. I mean, dudes are all over the place. America's filthy with dudes, like too many, I would say. Almost
definitely too many,
way too many dudes. And I'm just like looking at this, these guys who were like, otherwise, I mean, okay, look, I don't mean to assume, I don't want to put people in a bucket, but like you look at them, you look like, it's either like, oh yeah, boring looking straight dude, or like douche bro straight dude, or really old straight dude or something. And like, you don't, and they're with a woman or something or whatever, girlfriend. I mean, who knows? I don't want to assume, right? But like, you look at these guys and I'm like, just scanning the crowd. And then my eye gets drawn to something because they have sandals on or whatever. And I'm like, oh, he's got like sparkly pink toenails, or this guy's got like bright ruby red toenails, which is fine. Totally fine. I'm just very confused because I would bet money that these are just rando straight dudes. And so I'm wondering, what is the deal with rando straight dudes who have toenail polish, but not fingernail polish, because I guess that's too much? Like, they don't want to out themselves in the wrong context, I guess? But, like, I mean, like, they want to feel fancy with their shoes on and no one knows? Is it like a little horny secret? Is it just for funsies? Like, what is going on with straight dudes in this toenail polish? What's a scoop, Corey? Do you know? You know these guys, don't you?
I have zero insight on this. I cannot answer your questions. I'm sorry.
I'm so confused. If there's anybody out there listening to the show who has any kind of insight about why so many who, okay, granted, I assume are straight dudes, and of course you can be straight. Like, it's not saying that polish has any bearing on your gender or preference or whatever. I'm just like, it just is weird to me. Maybe it's just my age. Maybe it's the generation I'm from that, like, I don't know why these guys are wearing the toenail polish, and it's fine that they are. I'm just really confused by it. Am I missing out on a trend? Am I not as cool as I thought I was? Like, what is going on? I don't know.
I don't know either, but I mean, hey, to each their own, and I don't know what to say beyond that.
Well, if I could just hazard a very possibly incorrect kind of idea concept. I mean, I was going to give you like a +1 cool guy because like you wear them out on Front Street. You got them in your hands, dude. So like, that's like, out and proud, like not afraid to show that you're wearing this polish, and that's awesome. So I'm kind of like, I want to be like, do you want to wear nail polish, but you're scared that your friends are going to think you're not cool or that you're less of a man or something? Like, I just like, is it a work situation? Like, are you somewhere where you got to show your hands, like you're a bank teller, or like, what is the deal? Like, I'm just like, it's so weird to me.
I have no idea. I don't know here.
All right. Banter dead end. Let's change directions. Switch topics. What do you got on your list this week, man?
Well, the most significant thing I've done recently is, and I meant to research this before I came to the show, but I mean, if we barely research the games we talk about, how on earth are we supposed to research the fucking banter topics that we talk about? So I went to New Orleans hosts an event every year called the Red Dress Run. And I didn't really, I feel like maybe I had just like heard about it in passing last year. Did not go to it, wasn't really sure. Because it's New Orleans, so there's like a bunch of stuff that goes on that's perhaps out of the ordinary for other like metropolitan cities. Like we have, that, we have the underwear run, we have one of those, like, I know Seattle does this too, but we have one of those like naked bike ride things here. Yeah. So, we've got all that kind of stuff. And I didn't like think that I was going to go to the Red Dress Run. And to be frank, like, I didn't really research it. I'm sure it's like a proceeds go to something thing, but I did not look it up at all. But I know it's an annual event here, and I didn't really realize I was going to it until like the night before, and I didn't know a whole lot about it. I just know that everybody wears red dresses, and it also is just an excuse kind of for, like most things in New Orleans, it kind of is an event, but it sort of devolves into an excuse for everybody to just like be out in the French Quarter and out day drinking and out seeing the city and all of that kind of stuff. And so I had a friend pick me up and we went downtown, and on Saturday I was downtown from 1 p.m. until 3 a.m. with no breaks, no going and leaving and coming back, none of that. I stayed downtown for that entire period. And what I didn't know was I did not have a red dress. So because I wasn't really sure what it all was about, and I also didn't realize I was going to be going, so I didn't really have any time to prep. And I thought it was going to be one of those things where, like, oh, it's called the Red Dress Run, but you go downtown and it's like, 30% of the population is wearing a red dress. I got downtown, and it was like 90% of the people in the French Quarter. And it was wild because, like, it was like all genders, all shapes, all sizes. There was, I would say, way more than I expected to see. Just like, and then maybe this goes along with the nail polish thing, like way more just like, totally kind of vanilla or like bro looking straight dudes. I mean, like, I don't know if they were straight or not, but just like, the kind of like muscular, like frat boy type dudes that you see out and about. Not necessarily like, I mean, there were definitely some like feminine presenting men, or maybe they're gender non-binary or what have you.
Sure.
That were going all out with like a headdress and high heels and the whole shebang. But there were a ton of dudes that were just like, it was just like your everyday dude, like no regalia, no headpiece, no high heels, just like your sneakers, and then like some type of red dress. And it was really like kind of incredible to see. And I felt like, I was the one who wasn't wearing a red dress, so I was the one sticking out like a sore thumb. I mean, there were a handful of people that weren't, and it was just like everybody was going about their business. They were just bar hopping, they were getting food, they were walking around, they were in antique shops, they were doing everything any, people would do in a downtown area of a major city, but just like everybody was wearing red dresses. And I was just like shocked at the saturation of red dresses. And beyond that, the thing that really cracked me up is like, you see women and they're wearing dresses, or, female presenting people and they're wearing dresses. And, I guess like feminine people generally, or like women are supposed to like, they pull it off so effortlessly. Like they're wearing their like adorable sundress and they're just like walking around town and they look awesome and the dress is just flowy and it's cute and they look fabulous. And then you see all these dudes that are wearing dresses and it's like, sweat stains coming through the dresses. Like, most of the dudes could not hang and had like pulled the dresses down, so it was just like a skirt, and they just like had their shirts off, and just like couldn't quite hang with the ladies who wear dresses like every day. And I thought that was particularly hilarious because, like, female presenting people wear, dresses. They don't all wear dresses. I don't know if there's like a rule book somewhere where they have to wear dresses all the time. I assume not, but
no, there is a book. There is a book.
Is there a book?
Yeah, Gina's copy. I've seen it. She keeps it hidden, but I saw
it. Do you think she would like fax me a copy if I asked real nice?
No, she'd get real mad if she knows that I saw it. Like, don't say to anybody that I saw it. It's a secret. It's a secret.
Well, like, it's just funny to me because, like, I guess it just kind of goes to show about, like the double standard of like, how men are allowed to present themselves, society says or whatever, how men can present themselves, or masculine people. And then, feminine people are, they just like wear the dresses and they deal with it. And like, I know because I've heard stories from women that, bras are terrible, and you get like under boob sweat, and like your bra soaks up the sweat and it like chafes and it's gross, but they still look so elegant and beautiful. And then you have a dude who puts a dress on and like can't even hang for like 2 hours and has to like take the entire top portion off and is like sweaty and can't deal with the straps and doesn't look elegant at all. And it just cracked me up how many like, masculine people I saw out. And I just wanted to be like, yeah, you probably expect your girlfriend to look beautiful in these dresses for, 12 hours a day. And like, you can't even hang for like 2 hours out in the sun with it on, and you look like a sweaty mess. And that just like really cracks me up about seeing all the dudes in dresses downtown that just couldn't quite keep up with their feminine counterparts and how they were handling dress wearing.
Oh, dude, we talk about this all the time in my house. All the time. Because, I'm a big believer. Like, me and my wife are both like, keep it real kind of people. And we like apply that to like everything. Like, keep it real, no bullshit, just like whatever makes sense, whatever is practical. Like, that's what we're all about. Like, no airs, no fronting about anything, right? And so, we often talk about like the standards that women are held to. And I tell my wife, I'm like, my personal philosophy is if you love someone, then you just accept them for who they are. Like, it's not like I love you when you've got makeup on and you're wearing a bra, but if you take them off, then maybe we got to no, it's like, no, you love that person or you don't. You love them no matter what. You love them when they are looking their worst and they're smelly and they're dirty and they've had a rough day and they're stressed. You still got to love that person. If you can love that person at their worst, then you deserve them at their best. Like, you don't be that person who's like, oh, I love my significant other when they're working out and they don't have an ounce of fat and their hair is done up and they're perfectly tan. Like, no, like, that's not what being a person is about. Like, I tell my wife that all the time. I'm like, look, you look beautiful all the time. Whatever, like the other day, she's like, oh, we got to go out I don't forget where we're going, downtown or something. She's like, oh, should I put makeup on? And I'm like, you do whatever you want. If you want to, totally fine. If you don't want to, also totally fine. Like, you look beautiful to me no matter what, and I'm never embarrassed to be seen with you. Like, I'm very proud that we're together. So, like, whatever you want to wear is whatever you want to wear, and it's fine. But, like, there's, like, so much work that goes into it, and, like, we'll often talk about, and to be fair, it's usually her bringing it up and just me kind of agreeing. I don't really have, like, a lot to add on my half of it, but she's like, oh, it's just, women got to do these things. We got to pluck and shave and tweeze and, got the makeup on and do the hair and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I feel you. Like, I wouldn't want to do any of that stuff. I look at my self-care routine and I shave maybe once a week. Just, a little bit, not the whole thing. I keep a beard going, but I shave the upper lip and I put deodorant on, and that's kind of what I do. That's like my routine, and I don't really do anything. And that, like, society tells me that's okay. Just like you said, like, society will be like, yeah, dudes can be like pudgy, or they can be, have clothes that are poor fitting, or they can wear whatever shoes they like and have, facial hair if they feel like it. And it's fine. Like, it's all generally fine. Like, it's very rare, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's very rare that any dude will be corrected on their appearance, or like, maybe if they're like really like super offensively smelly at like PAX or something. But like, in general, a dude can show up in any way and nobody will really say anything. But if a woman shows up and whatever context she's in, she doesn't like fit whatever society says, then people will like look, or they'll whisper, or maybe people even say something, or like guys will even say something sometimes. I've actually been around when no friend of mine, but like some guy will say some shit, or like, he'll talk under his breath about how, quote unquote, like some girl has let herself go, or like some girl is looking ugly or something, which is fucking super offensive, right? And I was like, who the fuck are you to comment on anybody else? But like the societal standards are really harsh, really harsh. So at least in our relationship and in our home and when we go out together, it's like you do you, like whatever you want, because I don't want to like do makeup and do my nails and do all this stuff. I mean, if I liked it, sure, but I don't like to do that. It's a lot of work. And if she thinks it's a lot of work too, because it is a lot of work, then you don't got to do it. Like, I don't care. Like, it's, no judgment for me. You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of like, I get how it is to be a woman. I mean, I'm not a woman. I have not lived that life. So I'm not saying with like authority or anything, but I can comprehend how much work it must be and how tiring it must be to like, to do yourself up all the time just because of random assholes on the street. So, I mean, that's exhausting, dude. I can't even imagine. So for us, it's like, you either love your partner no matter what they look like, or you just don't love them. It's not conditional. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that a lot about I mean, we're totally all on the same page, but especially like, when it comes to like makeup and stuff, because you and I both, like, I've talked on the show several times about how I, wear makeup and stuff. But to be like totally frank, like I don't even wear makeup that much, like maybe once a week. And I've amassed like 6 different foundations, and I have like 5 eyeshadow palettes, and like these like 12 eyeliners and all this shit, and I have all of it, and I do a full face of makeup maybe once a week. I mean, maybe once every other week. Like, usually it's like a nighttime thing. Like, if I'm going out to dinner, if I'm going to do something, like, I don't get up in the morning and do my makeup before work, because I would rather like sleep that extra 45 minutes. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not going to get up that early and like do the whole shebang to get ready. And I often think that about like, not saying that like, I mean, men do have it easier. They do. But like, women feel probably under pressure that, maybe they need to put makeup on, or like in Gina's case, like asking you, like, do you think I should put makeup on? And just the fact that they have to like, not have to, but society somewhat pressures them into getting up and like doing that every single day, like getting up, like waking up like 30 minutes early so you can get up and you can like wash your face and then do your like 5-step makeup routine or whatever. Because even just like if I get up and just put foundation on and that's it, like maybe foundation and powder, like that's like enough. I'm like, oh god, this is enough. Like, I don't want to do anything else. Like, and like, there's so many more steps you can add into it. Like, you can do moisturizer, primer, foundation, concealer, brows, eyeliner, eyeshadow. It's just like there's so much stuff. And I do like 2 steps, and I'm like, god damn it, I'm ready to go. I'm tired of doing this already. And so I just couldn't. I don't want to have to get up and do that every day. And it's just like. If every woman in the United States of America, or like female presenting person, just like all stopped wearing all of their makeup on the same day and just did, I don't know, some sort of like makeup strike or something. Like, I feel like it would maybe like make men realize like how much work they put into it every day, because like we're so used to seeing it that we just sort of, I think, take for granted. I mean, I'm sure a lot of dudes don't even give it a second thought at all. Like, they just think that women just wake up and look that way, but really they get up and like put a bunch of effort into putting on makeup, but they probably just do it so well and so consistently that, the people around them who don't pay attention to it just don't really like realize that that's what they're doing every day. And I don't know, I just wish that more like people who were unaware would maybe pay a little bit more attention and just realize like, yeah, they're like getting up and going the extra mile on a daily basis just to like make themselves look presentable to the world. And everybody seems to be taking that for granted, and it's not cool.
On a similar note, we were just discussing this today about how much industry. Okay, so like this is kind of like a larger conversation. We're not going to be able to get to the bottom of this like right now, but my wife and I often talk about how much of society in America, at least, is set up to trick people into like, thinking of a certain way and paying money for a certain thing and keeping kind of the structures that are in place. The society that we have built is really like an upwards funnel where the people at the bottom think a certain thing, and of course they spend their money on a certain thing, and all that money goes up to the people who like profit the most from it. Capitalism, but also, yeah, but it's also like a big psyop. Like, it's like, you think certain things, like, we think certain women are attractive because society says they are. But then you think about all of the things that go into making that woman, like, quote unquote attractive, like the diet industry. Like, how many billions of dollars do people pour into the diet industry? Makeup industry, how many billions are poured into that? How many are poured into like, hair removal, or like certain clothing, or like, whatever. Like if you had a society, like you said, like if everybody went on makeup strike, if everybody just went on a general strike and was like, look, I'm just gonna be me, and if you like me, great. If you don't like me, fuck off. And I'm just gonna, just do myself. If everybody did that, think about how much money would be saved and how much money would not be funneled into that machine, which really just makes people feel bad about themselves. I mean, if you're like one of those people who like fit the current template of what makes a quote unquote beautiful person, like if you were born skinny and tall and blonde and blue eyes and you got big boobs and, whatever, if that's you, great. I mean, good for you. Genetic lottery. Enjoy it. But like a lot of people don't fit that fucking mold. And because we keep pushing those standards, I mean, same thing for guys, right? Like not every guy is 6'5", inverted triangle, buff with like a six pack. I mean, that's not me. It never would be me. I could work out like 12 hours a day. I would never look like that, right? So it's like think about how many billions would be saved if people stopped like trying to conform to these ideals and just stopped paying for the products that that are apparently out there to like get us to those ideals. Like if you stop paying for diet pills, stop paying for like whatever makeup, stop paying for the fancier shoes, stop paying for whatever, and if you just were who you are and that was okay, I mean, think about how many industries would go out of business, how many rich fat cats would like be totally upset that the money isn't rolling in anymore. Where could that money go that would do something better for society rather than making women feel bad that they put on a pound or making guys feel bad that they're not as muscular as they should be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, this definitely warped into much more of a philosophical discussion than I thought it was going to.
We're going deep on the So Video Games banter section.
Yeah, I mean, it is, I don't know. I mean, I feel like all this is just like America in a nutshell. But I also think about like, say if people stopped, say if like every woman stopped or people stopped buying makeup or something like that, you have to think about also like the mid tier. So it's like, yeah, like the CEO of, like It Cosmetics or whoever, like, yeah, she's going to go out of business and maybe like that would be bad news. But also like all of the people working at Sephora, they get paid like $20 an hour, will go out of business. And I don't know, all of the working makeup artists will go out of business. So it just turns into this giant like rippling effect. And I don't know, it's so much more than just the consumer and then the CEO and that's it.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, there's like a whole, economic discussion about that. But if we could somehow transition away from that, rather than fueling these industries, which are about making people feel less than and then trying to sell them things that will make them feel equal to, which in many cases is never possible. What if we funneled that money to some like different jobs, different industries, maybe, the arts or more, helping industries or more socially oriented things. I mean, if everybody was out there planting trees and cleaning carbon out of the air instead of, going to Soul Cycle or whatever, I mean, like, I don't know. It's just something to think about. And especially for women, it's way harder for women than it is for men. I mean, I just can't even imagine. I can't even imagine having to be a woman and like having to put up with these fucking entitled like fat slobs who like just want to like drool all over me and then call me a piece of shit if I don't meet their imaginary standards. Like, I mean, if you apply that to a guy, like you would get mad. You'd be like, fuck you. I'm not doing that. I'm going to do whatever I want. You can't tell me what to do. But when you apply it to a woman, like it doesn't fly the same way. So like they have all these other rules and norms and expectations that they toil under, which I think is really terrible. So that's really like a big reason why we try to keep it real. Because I mean, at least in our house, I'm like, okay, as far as I'm concerned, like you don't need to worry about that shit. So like trying to create this little like oasis for my wife, and I mean, hopefully more people will kind of come around to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's sort of perhaps the I don't know, the idea, the paradise idea, if you will. But I'm not sure that that's going to go away anytime soon in America.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. All right, that kind of went off on a huge tangent there. Let's reel it back in a little bit. We can talk about anything else. You must have other things on your docket. What do you got cooking, man?
I actually don't really have a whole lot going on. I've been working my ass off at work. I feel like today, so like at work, I've been kind of oddly feeling like really good about the work I've been doing lately. Like usually I just kind of feel like I'm like, I don't know, like a fish out of water sometimes. Cause like whenever I got hired, I am like a system administrator for this computer system that we use at work that we manage all of our cases with. And I used to have a colleague who knew like everything about the system and I could really like depend on her to basically guide me in any way, because anytime somebody asked me to do something and I had never done it before, I just went to her and I was like, hey, like, give me some tips. What's the best way to do this? Or if I did something, I would be like, hey, can you look at this? Like, do you think this is fine? And then she left where I work a few months ago. So it really kind of, I think it was good for me because it kind of forced me to kind of spread my wings and do my job, without depending. And not that I was depending on her, but just without having to, basically just I don't know, be the beautiful butterfly that I am and flourish on my own. And that became really apparent recently because my boss asked me to get sort of all this case data from the past couple of academic years and to sort of compare all of them together. And one of the things about the system that I work in is that there's about 10 different ways to get any data set you want, which you think would make things easy, but they each have their own strengths and weaknesses and caveats. And whenever somebody thinks they're asking for something, sometimes they don't really know what they're asking for. And then the data that you try to get just really flourishes into you answer one question and then another 2 questions pop up, and then you answer one of those and 3 more pop up, and then you have to decide how to organize the data and everything. But I finally finished this big data project at work and turned it into my boss last week, and he was very happy. I kind of presented the information at my staff meeting today, and actually, just kind of felt like I knew what I was doing for once in my life, and it felt really nice. And today we did a training. My department trained probably about 100 people today in a presentation, and it was the first time I have spoken in front of that many people, maybe ever in my life. And I had a pretty significant part of the training today. And last week or a couple weeks ago, there's a few people on at my work that need to be brought into the system I manage for other reasons. And, I met with the head of one woman's department, and it's her and 2 employees are being brought in, and then my boss, and we decided meeting together. And it just worked really well because they were talking about, kind of I'm just able to understand the weeds of the situation more, where a year ago, if I had been in that meeting, I would have been yeah, I don't know how to do any of this. Or maybe I know how to do 30% of the things. But as she was kind of describing what she wanted and what she needed from the system, I was already kind of pulling it apart in my mind and understanding how to make her account and do I need to make new case types or do I not? Or do I need to set up a watch list or do I not? And who has access and all of this. And then she emailed me yesterday after I left work and was asking about oh, well, when do you have time to train us? And so I don't know, it just feels nice because I just set up the training time with them, and my boss wasn't even really involved. It's nice, where I work because my boss always just kind of trusts what I'm doing and is never really breathing down my neck or is never, being rude or dropping I don't know, sometimes he'll give me big projects, but if he's never oh, here's a giant project, turn it in tomorrow, because the data project I was just working on took me 3 weeks to do, because it just kept blooming. And so I set up this training segment to go train these new people on the system on Friday. And I emailed her back today and I was well, if you want to train ASAP, I was I'm pretty free this Friday to next Thursday, and everything, in the industry that I work in, everything notoriously takes 8 million years to get approved. So I was expecting her to email me back and be lol, fat chance, let's meet in 6 months after everything settles down. And she was okay, how about Friday at 9:30? And I was what? So I'm, suddenly moving on to, host this training segment with her and her team on Friday morning. And we did the big training today with the big group. And I just feel in control. And it just feels nice to work somewhere where I finally feel I really know what I'm doing. And I've hit a really good stride. And I can be trusted to go off and train these other people in other departments without my boss being there. And the funny thing, too, is my boss, I know more about the system I manage on this campus than anybody else. So even though, my boss is my boss, he does, he can help guide me in certain areas, but he doesn't know the weeds of it like I do. So, him being at the training probably even wouldn't really make that much sense because he can't really, answer all the questions or anything. So it just feels nice to, be in a position like that where I finally feel I know what I'm doing and that my partners can trust me to do what's right and that I don't have to I don't have a lot of meetings I go to. So if somebody says, hey, can you come over to our department and, kind of meet with us to do this training meeting real quick, I can do that because that happened a couple weeks ago. That morning somebody called me and then we set up a little training meeting, and I walked across campus and like held a, it was just like an hour-long meeting to kind of talk about the system a little bit. But like when we got back from our big training today, it just like, I just sat at my desk and I was like, God, this feels so nice. Like I know what I'm doing, and like my partners trust me to do what I'm doing, and I can get these analytics for people, and I can train people, and it just feels really nice to just like be in that groove, like, and just be trusted and just know what you're doing. And I feel like, I mean, it took me a while to get there, but I feel like I finally hit that stride really well at work, and I just know a lot about a lot of things, and I know my position well, and it just feels really fucking nice.
That is a good feeling. That is a good feeling. I know that you probably never imagined yourself in that job before you took that job, and I know, how your struggles were before that, so I was really glad when you finally found this, and I'm happy to see that you're kind of coming into your own, man. Like, you've been there, you've been putting in the hours and working hard, and, obviously learning your shit, and, it feels good. It feels good to be good at something, I mean, I think mastering something, whether it's a personal passion or just, something at work, or just, just having that feeling of, yeah, this is my thing, and I know how to do this really well, and I'm good on this topic. I mean, that's a great feeling. Good feeling of like natural earned confidence. Good for you, man.
Yeah, I am happy. So thank you. And I will continue to move on with my newfound work confidence.
Lovely, lovely. I look forward to you moving up the ranks. You're going to be like CEO of your department soon. You're going to be moving up. You're going to be like,
no way.
Whatever. You're going to be running that school soon. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I would not want to be my boss. So.
All right. Well, let's transition a little bit in something related but not related. Speaking of feeling good but not work related, I don't know if I mentioned this to you or not. You're probably going to think less of me after I tell you this, but I would, so you have a Switch, correct?
I do.
I have a Switch also. And I find myself lately, when I have game time, like if I'm at home and I have time to play, I want to be on my PS4 with my bigger TV. Like I want more graphics and just bigger.
More graphics.
I want literally more graphics. Now, that's not to say that I don't love the Switch. I love the Switch. I love the Switch. I am a Switch stan. I'm all in on the Switch. But it just so happens that when I'm just kicking it at home and I'm on the couch or something, I want to, I want to get more bang for my buck because I don't have as much time, like in a home console as much as I want to. So I noticed that lately I've been really reserving my Switch time for like after I get in bed. Like I'll be doing my, cooking dinner, taking care of my son, doing whatever, got some paperwork, doing some Game Critic stuff. And then I get a little bit of time. I'll jump on the PS4, play something. And then I go to bed and I'm like, maybe I'm not quite ready to fall asleep. So I'm like, okay, so this is the Switch time. But I noticed that when I get in bed and play the Switch, like it's just not really super comfortable because if I'm sitting up in bed, well then I'm sitting up in bed and I don't have enough like back support and I'm kind of leaning forward and hunched over and my neck starts hurting. That's no good. And then I try to lay down on my side, but then my shoulder kind of, you lose sensation in your shoulder after a while. You get the pins and needles thing. That's no good. I try to lay down and hold the Switch above me, but then my arms get fucking tired. I can hold it there for a while, but it's just not really ergonomically okay. Like your body is after 15 or 20 minutes telling you this is not a comfortable position. Why are you doing this? We're doing damage to ourselves. Please stop. I mean, have you experienced this? Do you ever play the Switch in bed? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because I understand because like you either prop yourself up on your elbow and then your shoulder hurts, or I mean, luckily my bed is like against a wall, so I can, if I want to, I can like stack a couple pillows behind me and like sit up in bed. But I'm more of like because Patrick always goes to bed before me, so I'm more of a sit on the couch and play the Switch like right before I brush my teeth and go to bed, which I've been doing a lot lately because I almost put Doom 3 back on the docket for the show this week because I've been in a really good rhythm of playing it nightly before I go to bed, but I realized I don't have anything new to say about it other than it's maybe better than I remembered, and it's just a great game to play every night before I go to bed, and it plays surprisingly well on Switch, but I do know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so yes, exactly. But I've really got in the habit of like playing Switch in bed. Like I want to do one or two P-Cross levels before bed, or I'll do one or two little runs of whatever game I'm playing, and then I go to bed. Like I notice that's just my habit lately, and I'm like, this sucks. I'm not comfortable. This isn't working out. And if I have a bunch of pillows to prop myself up, it bothers my wife because she's right next to me, and it's, I get done playing game, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well I gotta like move the blankets around and get these pillows out of here. And, she wakes up because she's a pretty light sleeper. And she doesn't say anything, God bless her, but I know she's kind of irritated that I'm fucking around at bedtime rather than just sleeping. So I was like, okay, there's got to be a solution. I got to figure something out. So I went online, and lo and behold, if you have money, you can make any problem go away. That's the way of life here in America.
Did you buy some kind of like ridiculous like shoulder harness bullshit that like props you up in bed or something, or like holds the Switch above your head while you're playing?
Yeah.
You did not.
I did not buy a shoulder harness, but I did buy a thing that holds the Switch above you in bed so you can lay flat in your bed. It bolts to like my little nightstand table, and it's like this long metal pole that's flexible, and it's got a claw at the end of it. You stick the Switch into it, and so like I'm laying flat in bed, and then you can move the arm so that it repositions right above your face, and you can sit there flat, comfortable, with your neck comfortable, shoulders comfortable, and then the Switch is hovering like right above your face, so it's right where it needs to be, but then you're laying flat in bed. It's fucking great, dude. I fucking love it. It's so amazing.
This is
it's
like
great.
The most first world problem conversation we've ever had on the show.
Yes, it is super bourgeois and posh, and I'm embarrassed to even admit it, but I want people out there to know who are suffering along with me. If you are a nighttime Switch sufferer, there is an answer. And honestly, it was only like $15. Like, it wasn't like a fortune. So, I mean, I think that's pretty reasonable. That's cheaper than most video game accessories cost these days. And it's like super sturdy. The metal was like real strong, and like the claw that holds the Switch is super strong. Like, it's really well made. And I just sit there, get in bed, scooch in, and like I actually leave it in there now all the time because I don't play my Switch very much unless I go to work. I'll take it with me. But like if I'm at the home, I'll just leave it in there. So like when I get in bed, like it's already in place. Just slide into bed and like pop the thing on and just be playing it. It's so comfortable, dude. It's the best. I really, really dig it.
You have to let us know the first time you get in bed to play it and it just falls on your face, because that's going to happen one of these days. You have to report back on it.
That is exactly what Gina said, and I was worried about it too. But I got to say, man, the grips on that thing are really nice, because not only is it like a little claw type thing, but there's also like a little like foam ridge at the end of it. And if you'll notice when you take the Joy-Cons off of the Switch, there's like a little groove in the side of the main Switch unit, and that foam ridge fits totally right inside that little groove. So it's in there really snugly and securely. Like, I mean, it's really not going anywhere. And I've tested it a few times. I jiggled the thing to see if it was going to fall, and it seems like it's in there. So I feel pretty confident that as long as that claw doesn't like loosen up over the years, I feel like I'm pretty safe. I feel like I'm okay.
Oh my God. I cannot believe you, Brad.
It is good times. It is really fucking good times, dude. I really dig it. God, what else? I had a bunch of stuff to talk about, but it's all kind of like random. Do you have anything else, or should I ramble on? How are you doing?
I don't really think I have anything else.
Okay. So the other day, did I tell you about rewiring my setup? Did I tell you about that? Did we talk about this already?
No.
So the other day, we've been having internet problems for like a long time. And the wife was just like, she was done. She's like, fuck this. I want to watch a show. Because like we've been watching a show. She comes home from a long day of work. You know, she's not going to be up for very long because she gets up really early. She just wants to like eat dinner, watch a show, and kick it. And I'm like, that's super reasonable. No problem. But like we were watching TV, and like it would be like, buffering. Or we watch like 2 minutes of it, buffering, or it would slow down. Or like, our internet was just really shitty for like whatever reason. And we were paying, good money for it. And I feel like we weren't even really getting the basic functionality out of it. So she was just like, I'm done with this. Please fix it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I called this guy, CenturyLink is who we're with. And so they sent the guy out. Kind of a long story and how he even got here. I'm not going to get into that right now. It's just a nightmare. But anyway, he showed up. And the router that we use for our home, like our home internet, apparently is like a model that they don't use anymore. It's like really old and outdated. And he's like, oh, I'm surprised you've even got this one. We stopped handing this one out like a long time ago. So this is probably your problem because this is not at all up to speed with what we expect. So I'm like, okay, well, cool. Let's change it. But like, have you been to my house, Corey? I don't remember if you've been to my house or not.
I have.
Okay, you have been to my house. I don't know if it looked the same when you were here or not, but I have a big cabinet and it has all of my systems that I play. So, I mean, at the time it had a 360, it had a PS3, PS4, PS2. At the bottom was, believe it or not, a PS1. I had I had an Xbox nearby. I had a Wii U that was not hooked up, but it was still in there. I had the Switch was right next to it. Steam box was like over like so I had like
the Steam. I forgot about
the
the
Steam
Steam
box.
box.
Everybody forgot the Steam box.
You play that like all the time, right? Like
Every day. It's my
Every
main.
day?
It's my main unit. It's really good. So I have all this shit connected, and also like my house looks like an internet cafe, right? Because we're all hardcore, like online, screens all over the place. Like my son has his setup, my wife has her setup, I have my setup. She has an office in the back that she works when she works from home, and so there's like cables running like across the ceiling, like back through the house, and like going all over the place. Like it looks like we are cyborgs, like inside a Borg cube, like walking around inside of our fucking living room, right? So this guy is like, "Oh yeah, let's change your router out," and I'm like, "Yeah, cool." And then he like proceeds to go and just like unplugs everything off the router, and I'm like, "Oh god, you just unplugged oh shit." I'm like, "There's like 42 plugs back there," and some of them were labeled, some of them were not. But he just starts yanking stuff. I hear stuff like falling, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, and I'm just like biting my tongue, right? I was like, "Oh god!" Like, I need this guy to fix this, but I'm so mad right now, and he's like ruining the whole thing. So I didn't say anything, but he like stuff got jostled. I think some of my switch box, not my switch, but like a switcher, like like a channel switcher. I had a box back there. I think it like fell. He unplugged a couple of the power supplies that were to things that I'm not even sure what they were to. And like, he's like, "Yeah, okay, here you go." And I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Oh shit." Like, I was like, he just totally, I had a giant, like, knot of like cables and cords and wires back there. And it was as if he had just taken a sword and sliced through them all. And like, "Fuck it, I'm not going to tie this. We're just going to get through this thing." And he switched it out. And to be fair, our internet service immediately improved. Like, we haven't had a problem since, which is great. But I looked at that mess and I was just like, I mean, it just was like a grenade had gone off, and I was kind of just shell shocked, and I was like, "Oh my God, everything's unplugged." And so I just took the time and I was like, "Okay, well, this is probably a good time to just get rid of the systems that I'm not playing. Not get rid of, but put them up in storage or whatever. Just get them out of there, clean it up, redo the wires and everything." I mean, it took me like altogether probably like 3 hours to like redo everything, because I was like moving wires around, and where does this go to, and where does this, how do I get this back there, and maybe this is a better place for this, and just like doing the whole thing. So I ended up packing up most of it, and I mean, honestly, once it was all done, it was fine. It looks better, it's neater. I'm sure it's less hot because there's fewer machines there, etc., etc. But oh my God, dude, when he just like started unplugging things at random, I was like silently like shrieking, just like, it was like watching somebody be tortured right before my eyes, and I just it was really awful. But it's fine now. Yes.
You made a phoenix rise from those ashes, did you?
I mean, I did. It took a while, a couple hours. I was like sneezing dust the entire time. I was filthy when I was done. I mean, it ended up taking my entire night. But I mean, it works now. Everything's fine. Internet's better. I got all the systems that I still use. I mean, whatever. It all worked out. But man, that was not how I would have proceeded to do that if the tables were turned. But
yeah, it surprises me that he didn't even like ask you. He wasn't like, "Oh, what can I unplug?" He just like went for it.
He totally just went for it. Did not ask at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's just like, "Oh yeah, here's your router, and here's your unplug," and I'm like, "Oh my God." I mean, I would have.
How old was this guy?
I mean, he was like 30. He wasn't a kid, and he wasn't old either. I mean, he was.
But he should know better.
I mean, you would think. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get that he probably deals with fussy people all day, and when it comes to certain things, I'm certainly fussy. But I wasn't giving him any trouble, and I wasn't hassling him. We hadn't even started the discussion about how we were going to proceed. He's just like, boom, did it. And I'm like, fuck. So, yeah, that. I mean, honestly, I was kind of surprised that he didn't ask. Because, I mean, if I was in somebody else's house, whether it's for work or whatever, I mean, I would be polite and be like, "Oh, is this okay? Can I go ahead and switch it out? Is that fine or whatever?" Okay, whatever. I mean, I guess no permanent damage was done. I ended up cleaning up the thing and dusting a little bit, and it was a net positive, but just not exactly how I would have wanted to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of like that reminds me a little bit of like, inevitably when I was in college at a certain point, probably more than once, you're like, like writing an essay for a class, and then for some reason, your computer dies or Microsoft Word crashes and it doesn't save your essay, and you had written like half of it. And in the interim moments, you like want to both throw your laptop and yourself off a building. But whenever you go back and rewrite everything, it's always better the second time over. And you're like, okay, yeah, I had to suffer a little bit for this. And like, it was unfortunate that it happened. But everyone is like, this all worked out for the best for everyone involved. And I feel like it's like kind of a similar situation.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I wasn't horrified and scared. Very uneasy, but it all did work out. Let me hit you with a couple TV and movie things, and then we should probably get onto the games real quick. I went to go see Dora the Explorer. Did we talk about this? We didn't talk about this.
No, we haven't had Banter in a while, so we have not talked about this.
That is true. Have you seen the commercials for Dora the Explorer?
I watched the first trailer on YouTube, I think, when it came out a few months ago, but I haven't seen anything recent.
Oh my god. Have you ever seen the cartoon of Dora the Explorer?
Yes, I have.
Like when you were a kid, or when did you see it?
Probably when I was like, I think it was popular when I was like an early teenager, but I remember I mean, I've only seen maybe like an episode or two, but I remember the format where a lot of it is very like quiz based, where she's talking to the TV or, you know, the person seeing the TV, and there's the backpack with the backpack theme song, where he says delicioso at the end of eating everything. So I'm a little bit familiar with it.
Exactly so. So my kids watched a lot of Dora. Both of my kids watched a lot of Dora growing up. And so, of course, if they're watching it, then I'm watching it. So we're very familiar with Dora. And, we saw the trailer, and I'm like, man, number one, never in a million years expected Dora the Explorer to be a live-action movie. And number two, like, watching the trailer, I'm like, that doesn't look too bad, actually. Like, it kind of looks okay.
Well, yeah, it looked like Indiana Jones to me.
Totally, dude, right? Like, it's like Indiana Jones for, like, the younger set. And so, we were kind of like, we haven't engaged in Dora IP for a while, but we all had fond memories of it. And we're like, we should go see this and support it. And I got to say, it was a really good time. It was actually way better than I would have ever expected it to be. And it was really, really fun. I mean, of course, it is basically Indiana Jones for kids. Dora is with her parents out in the jungle, and they find these clues that lead to this, South American city of gold, et cetera, et cetera. But she also grows up in the jungle, and so when she goes back to the city, whatever, events happen, she goes back to the city for a little while. She's like totally like fish out of water because she doesn't know how to relate to other kids who are like in high school, and it's this real weird kind of, she's like this, outsider, and makes all the social faux pas and stuff like that. But then she gets back to the jungle, and they go on this adventure, and there's like traps, and there's poison, and there's, wild animals, and all sorts of stuff. So, I think in terms of just being a straight up like kids Indiana Jones movie, it was pretty successful. Nobody got killed. It was very approachable for kids. So very, very family friendly, which is, appropriate given the IP. But also, like, if anybody has seen the cartoon, they totally referenced the cartoon like so many times, and they were very self-aware about it. They made fun of like some parts of the cartoon. Like in the cartoon, how Dora would always break the fourth wall and talk to the kids watching to get them to like participate, or she would like repeat certain things, or she'd have like a theme song, and they totally like played off of all of those. So like, if you've seen the original Dora, it was like, oh my god, they totally did a callback to this, and they did a callback to that, and it was really, really smart. They were wink, wink, nudge, nudge the whole way through, and they were very in on the joke themselves, which I thought was great, because being willing to poke fun at yourself is really important in something like this. The actress who did Dora, I forget what her real name was. She did a great job. I thought she was wonderful as Dora. I would totally go and see her do another one. I thought it was great. And, just the whole thing was just really, really well done. I loved it from start to finish. We laughed a lot. It was really appropriate for the family. Nobody died, so there's no concerns about blood, and there's no explicit language or sex or anything. It's very family friendly. So I loved it a lot. I would not recommend it to just anybody, but if you are a fan of the original Dora, or if you're looking for a good family film, super, super well done. Kudos to Nickelodeon and everybody involved, because we had a great time.
Well, good. I'm glad it actually like lived up to the way it looked, because it did look like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was super, super good. Super good. One more quick thing to mention, and then let's wrap it up. I want to talk briefly about Dragon Ball, the original cartoon. Have you ever seen the original Dragon Ball? I'm sure you're probably familiar with Dragon Ball Z, because it's all over Twitter every day.
Yeah, Z is the only one I watched back in the day, because that was in the kind of like the heyday of Toonami whenever it played there. but I'm not super familiar with the original.
Not a lot of people are that I know. I know that there's some hardcore fans that kind of know about it, and I was not really up on it, but I had actually seen a few episodes of the original Dragon Ball back in the day, and I remembered thinking it was pretty fun. I remembered watching it and thinking it was kind of cool, and then I just kind of, I don't know, I just was not in the zone to watch it, or I don't know what happened. I just never watched it. And then Dragon Ball Z came out, and I'm like, this sucks. Like, it's just a bunch of, like, really super muscly dudes screaming at the top of their lungs. Everybody's shooting these giant lasers all over the place. It just sucks. Like, and it got really popular for some reason, and I know a lot of people love it, and I look at Dragon Ball Z, and I just get real tired. I'm just like, I can't put up with any of this stuff. It just is so fucking annoying. But the original Dragon Ball is on Hulu, which we have, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is the original stuff. I remember it being okay. Let's watch it again. And I gotta say, it is actually a really delightful, really funny, kind of a wonderful cartoon. It is night and day different from Dragon Ball Z. I don't even know how they made the transition from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z. I mean, maybe we'll find out as we watch the whole series, but they've got like 180 episodes or something that's on Hulu. God. And we've been watching, we're only up to maybe episode 15 or 20, but it's just been really great and super different than what Dragon Ball Z is. I mean, it's about main character, his name is Goku, and he's like a little monkey boy out in the woods, and so a lot of it is him meeting people, and much kind of like Dora growing up in the jungle, he lives like on this remote mountaintop, and so when he meets people for the first time, he doesn't know about society, and he doesn't know like what the mores are, and then hooks up with a bunch of people, like this random cast of like oddballs, kind of forms his own like little Mass Effect crew and goes on this journey for the Dragon Balls. And I don't know if people know this or not, but Dragon Ball is about, there are these 7 magical balls, or is it 6 or 7? Maybe 6, 7, I don't know, 7 balls in the world, and if you can, they're scattered all over the globe, and if you can collect all 7 and get them together, then a dragon will come down out of heaven and give you like whatever wish you want. And that's why everybody wants to collect the Dragon Balls, because everybody wants their one wish. So they go on these random adventures. There's all sorts of fighting. The writing is actually really funny and smart, and it's just really adorable and cute, and just a good cartoon. I will say though, it is raunchy as fuck. It's really, really like shockingly raunchy, and that, you know, we've had a number of times when I would like pause the show and we would talk about like Japanese culture and how certain things are different, and like what certain words mean, and there's a lot of like sexist stuff that happens. So we often talk about that as well. Like, I think Dragon Ball, I think it came out in like 86, 84, 86, something like that. So there wasn't a lot of PC, you know, kind of like policing of the content. There's a lot of like, you know, TNA stuff, like gawking at women, and there's a lot of inappropriate touching without consent. So that's a thing. That's a thing. We're kind of treating it as like an artifact of history at the time, and going over discussions. I mean, we talk about consent all the time, and you know what's okay to do and what's not okay to do. So that's a really kind of weird curveball that the series throws, because it leans pretty heavily into that, where a lot of the characters are often on the hunt for like young, you know, curvy girls, and that comes up quite a bit, which I did not expect at all. I didn't remember that from when I watched it, and I wasn't quite ready for that when we watched it. But once you get past that, I think it's just a really fun show. Like, it's just really humorous, and the adventures are fun, and the characters are fun, and it's nice to watch something that is from a totally different culture. So we learn a lot about that side of things. And it's not at all about a bunch of muscly dudes shouting at each other and shooting laser beams. Like, there's way more to it than that. So we've been having a really good time with it. A lot of, you know, parental guidance to go along with it, but still having a good time with it.
So when it comes to like the kind of like raunchy stuff, is it like kind of, I mean, I might be off base here, but is it the kind of situation where like the show was made to be a kid's show, but like they threw in like some raunchy stuff as kind of like jokes for like the adults to get in the room? Or is it just like totally gross stuff that doesn't really like have like a specific audience?
It is definitely a kid's show, but I think it is just, I mean, I'm not the Dragon Ball expert. I'm not a historian or anything, but just from my observation, I believe it is just there for titillation purposes. I mean, it seems to me to be a younger kids show, but I'm guessing maybe it's for like a younger teen show, because there's a lot of like focusing on like bras and panties and how big someone's boobs are, and like there's one character who's like a super pervert, and they talk about being a pervert like all the time, and so I had to explain like what a pervert was and like what what does it mean in America, what does it mean in Japan. I think it kind of has a slightly different context in Japan. And this guy is like, one of the quests they do is he sends his students out. He's like a kung fu teacher, and he sends his students out to bring him back cute girls, and so we had to like discuss that. Gross. So there's a lot of there's a lot of like ostensibly really gross stuff that happens. So that's been a little bit of salt along with the sugar as we watch the show. It's not all. I mean, I wouldn't just recommend it just to anybody, and you definitely would want to do like parental supervision if you're watching it with your kids. I mean, unless they're teenagers or something, but you still would probably want to have a talk with them. But I think it's just really interesting to see like the other stuff that goes along into it, how they treat the characters, like how they talk to each other. Really different from a lot of American shows. I think there's a lot of cultural stuff to mine there that goes along with the stuff that we may find, pretty distasteful in some respects. But I mean, overall, it's been fun, and we've learned a lot. And I think that we're probably going to try to just work our way through the series. It's been a pretty good time. But yeah, definitely a world apart from Dragon Ball Z. I can't stand Dragon Ball Z, but I think that Dragon Ball is a pretty good time.
Are you going to watch the whole thing to see if the bridge gets gapped between it and Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah, I there must be a point at some, maybe towards the end of the series when it starts getting shouty and fighty more than it is. I mean, we'll stick with it until it hits that point, and then at that point I'll be like, I'm out, because like I know that that's not my jam. It's really irritating, and I just don't think it's very cool. I don't like the art when it switches to that way. Everybody's like super muscly, and they have those giant like manes of blonde hair and all that stuff. It just seems really tedious and boring. But we're still in the good part, so we'll keep on it until it hits that section. But then then we're out.
Hard out.
Hard stop, hard out. And speaking of hard stop, hard out, we should probably transition into talking about some games, unless you got anything else you want to throw out real quick.
I don't think so. We should probably get to the games.
Let's talk about some games.